Good evening, race fans. Welcome to another exciting season for the CSRL Casual Sim Racers League here on the Core Racing Network. This is going to be another fun season for them. Season 12, ton of drivers out here tonight. Looks like it's going to be 35 plus, 37 drivers signed in here at the track. We'll see if all of them take the green flag here tonight. They're finishing up with qualifying right now, but we're here at the beautiful Watkins Glen International, and this track is very familiar to, I'm sure, a lot of these drivers. As I mentioned on the broadcast last night, if you guys were tuning in, it's pretty much been a host to just about every series you can think of. They've had IMSA here, they've had IndyCar, obviously NASCAR comes here. Just about anything you can think of, it has done some kind of motor racing here at Watkins Glen, and this is a fun facility. There's not too much craziness going on here. I guess the craziest parts, obviously going down into turn one, downhill braking is going to be a little tough. Sometimes the S's going up towards the backstretch here can get a little fun, a little dicey as well, but we'll see how these drivers handle it out here tonight. Carl Hammer joined in the booth by Jimmy Covert. Jimmy, season 12 is upon us.
I'm back. I'm helping, Carl's helping me have everybody ignore me, but great night here at Watkins Glen, and qualifying is over. We'll get into some of the technicalities of the track here as we start this race, but looks like after Bryce Rainer having good runs with the M2s last night, here taking the pole here for Watkins Glen.
Yeah,
well,
again,
provisional, I should say. They have 1 minute remaining.
Yeah, 37 looks like a 38th car just showing up right now. Looks like Cesar Colon Torres just showing up here at the track as well. See if he can sneak out there and sneak onto the track and make it a full 38 car field. But yeah, looks like everything is just about wrapping up here from qualifying. They have the 15 minutes of open qualifying, but then anybody that has started a lap before they took the checker flag, they have basically a couple minutes to complete that lap, so it just gives a little bit extra kind of stoppage time, as I call it. But yeah, this is a fun track. I'm looking forward to it. It's a good opener, I think, for a series. Hopefully these drivers show a little bit of patience. It's tough. First race of the season, you're always kind of wanting to put your name out there right away. You don't want to start on the bad foot, but one little mistake, you can end up taking out 2, 3, 4 other guys, and especially if you're new to the series, it's not the look that you want to have to start off, but you don't want to just kind of get kicked to the curb either. You want to show that you can hang with these guys. But we got a pretty good size field for the AM class this season, as there's a ton of AM class drivers out there. We have the typical pro class drivers that are out there. Our championship winner last season in the pro class, Craig Jancic, out there, as well as our AM class champion, two-time champion, Christian Ortiz Torres, now once again back up into the pro class. So we'll see if this time he can hang with the boys up there. But Jimmy, we're done with qualifying for the first race of the season. Why don't you give us a rundown of that big old starting order?
Let me catch my breath first. Definitely going to be a lot of drivers out here, but we're going to run down here real quick before they get started. We got a full lap here before they go green, but Bryce Rainer will go ahead and take that pole here tonight, followed by Christopher Hamilton. So definitely Chris is trying to get in there and continue where he left off, and hopefully maybe beat out Craig Jancic this year. But speaking of Craig Jancic, sitting there in Pete number 3, and Herb Pineda in there in Pete number 4. You have Dan Amora in 5th, Devin Young in 6th, Anthony Hutchinson in 7th, Dave Jansen in 8th, Frank Pisano is in 9th, Christian Ortiz Torres up there in 10th. Jim Dutton in there in 11th. Todd Torvell in 12th. Billy Wright is in 13th. Jake Mowdy is in 14th. Stephen Barusa is in 15th. Jim Herrick's in 16th. Justin Tucker is in 17th. Jason Potts in 18th. Tyler Torville is in 19th. Jamie Bray in 20th. Then the second half of the field will be Randy Ayers, Joe Sullivan, Raymond Dilemma, William Burrell, Max Dalton, Brandon Potts, Stephen McLean, Stephen Pless, Stefan Price, Steven Santana, Glenn Lawson, Jay Little, John Espada, Dylan Witch, Ian Southern, Ian Wilson, Paul Bailey, and Cesar Torres for 38 drivers. It's going to be an interesting one here. Looking forward to seeing how everybody does, seeing if they've made any changes, what cars they've gone with, what paint schemes they're showing this time around. But looks like a fair split of different vehicles out there. A lot of people choosing the Ford here, as the top three are sitting in the new Ford Mustang, a Porsche, McLaren out there. Ferraris, I see an Audi, there's an Acura, a couple Corvettes, even a BMW. So the only one I think we're missing is the Mercedes.
Yeah, pretty interesting. I know we're here in America, but we do see the Fords dominating the top three spots. As just need to turn down the sound here for these cars just a little bit, so you guys can actually hear us, whether you want to or not. You're gonna hear us, and get this thing underway. But yeah, Ford's in the top three positions here tonight, and then you got one lone McLaren up there towards the front with Dan Herrera and a bunch of Porsches out there. Not a surprise, as these drivers, again, that they need to choose wisely when it comes to their cars, because it's one of the cars that they're going to be kind of stuck with the entire season. So I'm really surprised whether the Mustang is fast here or not. It's not a car that we typically see used that often, especially on other tracks. So I guess you better get after it while you can. You better get that good top spot here tonight, because it may be, a kind of roll of the dice to use it at any other tracks during the season. But take a look as they go through the infamous bus stop there and around typically what's known as the carousel, but here on this other configuration here of Watkins Glen, it's known as the outer loop before they head into the boot. And for any NASCAR fans out there, this is a section of the track that NASCAR doesn't run. They come out of the carousel, the outer loop there, and then they go straight down to the penultimate corner. So this is what's known as the boot, and not sure what happened there. Looks like Reiner got the boot and shot him off the track. Yeah.
Wasn't shooting for the clean race award, Carl.
No. I'm wondering if he has any kind of damage from that. I mean, he did shoot over and hit the wall. I'm not really seeing anything on screen here, but that was interesting to say the least. I don't think he got tagged from behind. It just looked like it kind of just shot him right over to the right. Well, very interesting. We didn't take the green flag yet, but Reiner already, I guess, trying to self-sabotage himself. I mean, we seen he was quite fast last night in the M2 series, and a really fun series. Again, if anybody's looking to kind of get in a beginner series, come check it out here for CSRL. They run on Tuesday nights. We had a chance to cover their season opener last night at Okayama, and that was definitely a fun one. So if you even want to just peep in and take a look at the broadcast, see how everybody ran. It was a good, fun broadcast for sure for me and Jimmy. But we're getting ready to get this one underway here. Again, 38 cars were signed in. Looks like 36 are out there on track. Possibly Brandon Potts, Cesar Cologne, maybe starting from pit lane. Everybody else out there on the track. The pace car is in. Barney's got the green flag in his hands.
Green flag,
and we are racing for season number 12.
You got 11 guys. They rip rolling all the way down into turn number 1. Treacherous. Can they hold it here? You gotta be patient here from the start. A little bit of 3 wide, but it looks like they're clean so far. at least going into turn one. Now up through the S's. Very tricky to go too wide here. So on cold tires, you can see him trying to get into single file mostly, but it looks like no problems through the S's. Now the drivers will work their way down that backstretch there into the first part of the bus stop. And it can be tricky here. You can go too wide, but there's a slide. Somebody's going off the track in the Porsche. He's able to collect it.
Yeah, good save there. I think that was Randall Lima. Very nice. Absolutely.
Drifting that Porsche around.
It's just warming up the tires. I mean, everybody's got cold tires out there. You know, they're just trying to warm them up right now. Now heading into the boot, and this is kind of the end of the boot, the back of the far end of the boot. So aptly named the toe. So this is the hairpin known as the toe, and then you come up and out of it and head to, well, the heel. So it's pretty simple when it comes to some of these here. And then, of course, when you're getting ready to exit the boot, as Reiner is not able to, and now he is stuck backwards. Luckily, he's at the outside of the track, so he should be able to back up and off the track and get going. But that is not what he wanted to see here right at the start. He's going to get it back going, but man, that is going to put him 35th in the order after starting on the pole in the 44, also sideways and into the wall. That is Ian Southern. We'll take a look back and see what happened there. Looked like maybe Jim Dutton might have gotten caught up in something as well. Going to complete the first lap with Chris Hamilton on top of the boards, but let's take a look back and see if we can catch some of these incidents here. And we'll start off with Bryce Reiner here. Actually, looks like already completed here. There we go.
Yeah, as Carl's catching that up, it looks like Bryce already went ducked down in the pits, so, you know, maybe taking the damage off that car, just getting loose off that grass, and spinning it around here, and just kind of fantastic job, really, by all the drivers coming up, you know, with a good old Ford Mustang staring you in the face, so you can see everybody doing a pretty good job, and this year is pretty tricky, too. We had an incident there, and it looks like somebody that hold their brakes and ended up backing up into the field there. So some damage on a few cars. See a hood on a Porsche.
Yeah, that was
off the side in the grass.
That was Dave Jensen here, just maybe getting a little too happy on the throttle, coming out of the corner, and ends up backing out straight across the track. And that is not what you want to do right there. I'm sure the admins will certainly have to take a look at that. And then we should see here, yeah, right there. I guess it's just not a good day to be purple. As right there, you see Ian Southern getting sideways and looped around there. But we'll take it back live now, and you see Bryce Reiner back out there on the track now. Again, these drivers start off with I believe it's 40% fuel in the car, so they can't make it to the end of the race. But once they come into the pits one time, they are good to go because they can fill it up all the way. So Reiner, you know, not necessarily out of a good finish here or a half-decent finish, but I mean, when you start on the pole and you watch every single car go by you, he's probably made the best decision coming into the pits right away. He's got to hope that the pit cycle helps him get back up there, maybe up there to a chance at a top 10. But this is a very disturbing start, I'm sure, for the 24, especially after, you know, the success that he had last night, and, you know, hoping to carry a little bit of momentum into the season. Didn't start off good. He lost the lead on the start of the race to Hamilton down the backstretch, as Hamilton kept him too wide through the S's, was able to get it on the backstretch and into the bus stop first. And he leads right now by 3.4 seconds over Craig Jancic for the time being. But on the inside, here comes Herbert Pineda into the toe, trying to make the pass on the inside. He's also on a purple and gray car, so I guess keep an eye on that one to see how long he can keep it straight and keep the fenders on. But then again, Jason's got a little purple on his car too, so we'll see how it works out. But right behind him, Dan Herrera, a little racy here. I like it in the 4D McLaren up there in the 4th place, and right behind him, Devin Young rounding out your top 5. Your top running M-Class driver, and for those that are new, they have 2 different divisions here in CSRL. The drivers with the black number plates there are in the Pro Class. the drivers with the green number plates in the AM class. So your top running AM class driver right now in 6th place is Anthony Hutchinson. And then you got to look all the way back to 12th place, where you see Jim Herrick taking over now because Todd Torville was there. And if I click on him, I just dropping down the order so quickly I couldn't even click on him. But yeah, there he is. Off the track, he was in 2nd place in the AM class up there in 12th, but now Jim Herrick is in 2nd place. And then right behind him, Steve McLean rounding out the top 3 for your AMs.
Yeah, it's a good feel. It's a good size feel. And the thing about this track, Carl, is you know, a lot of people have a lot of time on it. It's a very popular track, and you can get overconfident real quickly. You know, when the tires start to wear down, and you have to get a little bit of hot and greasy underneath you, the car can get pushy or just lose it coming out of certain corners. But you're riding on board with William Burrell down to the bell stop here as he looks on that number 76 of Joe Sullivan. So Joe out there trying to get some road time in. Really, we see our fellow CRN broadcaster on the ovals, but taking to the track here, getting some road time in. So it's good to see Joe out there. The only thing, Joe, what's it with the Red Bull?
Well, I'm thinking he's trying to play both sides of the coin here. Joe, I'm involved in some fantasy F1 leagues with Joe, and speaking of Joe, looks like Joe goes around right there. Got a little bit loose, he gets back going, but anyway, I'm in a few fantasy F1 leagues with him, and maybe, you know, he's got the McLaren car out there, which is arguably the fastest car on the F1 circuit right now, but he's got the Red Bull paint scheme, so maybe, you know, playing to Max Verstappen as well. So I guess you throw everything out there. I mean, maybe he's got the red wheels for Ferrari. He's trying to cover all the fast cars out there right now, but looks like Jamie Bray right there on the inside, and big bobble right there, and I think he tried to cover off the inside here for Randy Ayers and just could not keep it. End up looping it around out of the boot. Luckily for him, he gets it off the track, but man, we've seen it 3-4 times now, these drivers spinning out and pointing backwards. I mean, it's kind of out of their control once they start spinning, but that is just, it's bad enough to spin, but that is just a gut punch when you finally stop spinning and you're looking the wrong way, watching every one of your competitors just fly on by.
Yeah, you're helpless. I mean, it happened during the sea. I know you were off in the morning when we were doing our Sebring, but it kind of happened to us. So we're even though we won, but early in the race when I first started, first stint, matter of fact, coming down the front stretch, I was passing these GT3 cars in the LMP2, and somebody caught my left rear bumper, Carl, and it sent me into a 360 down, and I was just kind of like holding my breath. There's about, I don't know, 25 cars that I just passed all go flying by, missing me. I don't know how we didn't get hit, but a nice GK, hold on to it. Oh!
Now this was just a bit earlier for Randy Ayers, and another one spun around, stuck the wrong way, and maybe almost, I was going to say, almost beached there a little bit as well, and trying to get that thing spun back around, but losing a ton of positions. And man, it's been a rough one here, but it looks like Herbert Pineda taking an early pit stop here in the 99 as he brings it in from 3rd place. So that's going to give it over to Dan Morera now in 3rd, right behind him Devin Young. So interesting strategy here, and it's tough. Typically, I'd say, you know, an early pit stop here is not that bad, and you know, of course, for Bryce Reiner having that issue right away, it makes sense taking that pit stop right away. But when you're up there in 3rd, because of how many cars are out there on the track, I mean, you look at the track map, there's no clean air really anywhere other than for the leaders and, you know, maybe little spots here and there. So, you know, typically you take that early pit stop, that short pit, to get out there in some clean air and run some good laps. But good luck finding some clean air here tonight. But one thing we do have is we have a clean track. There was a threat of rain here tonight, 30% chance of rain, but knock on wood, Jimmy, it looks like we may get a dry one after all.
Yeah, I just looked at the weather because I remember talking to Jim last night, hearing the weather forecast had a chance. So, you know, there was always a chance, but 30% became 0 here, and it's going to, the humidity's high. That can affect these cars as well, but not something somebody thinks about, or they're like, why am I like a half a second slower? Air temperature, humidity will really affect the car more than people think, especially here on iRacing. So that could, they're the simple things that some drivers don't understand. Like, why was I out there and I was doing 143s and now I can only do 144s? Well, what was the temperature? What was the humidity? What was the wind? All these things can play a big factor depending on how it is for that day. So there's a reason that world records or fastest laps on certain tracks happen on certain days, and so that's a big part of it. And the weather just being a major factor on a lot of those things. But here, we're going on board here with Ariana Dilemma back here. We're currently sitting in P15, so trying to make their way up through in that Old Spice Porsche, trying to get around. Let's see who's at the 14th. That says Steve Santana. So battling all over the track. There's a bunch of orange numbers and red numbers up on my timing tower, so I'm sure there's plenty of action on the track to be had, especially with a big old field of 38 drivers.
And looking back here with Stephen Pless, John Espada, and Dylan Bucks heading into the bus stop right now, and there's so many cars out there on the track that this track isn't that big to be able to fit any kind of little gaps in there. So there's plenty of racing all over the track. Well, let's take a look back here at Steve Santana, still trying to hold off Brennan De Lima as De Lima goes on around the outside here of the toe, trying to keep that position, but not going to be able to hold on to that outside. But right now, your leader still out front and still enjoying a 2-second lead, but it is getting smaller as Craig Jancic has been running some of the fastest laps on the track right now. So not sure if Hamilton is just kind of keeping him at bay, if he's just trying to keep those tires underneath him. Typically we see Chris out there in the Porsche and trying to keep those Porsche tires under him for the whole race, because it's one thing that he struggled with, and one thing a lot of the Porsche drivers struggled with last season was keeping those tires for the entire race, because the tire fall off is definitely abundant on the Porsche. But out here in the Mustang tonight, still holding on to a 1.7 second lead, but again, it is getting smaller by the second. Jancic starting to reel him in. He ran about a half a second faster that last lap than Herrera. Falling back a bit here, he is still in third place, but 5 seconds now adrift of Craig Jancic, and he's still got Devin Young right behind him in fourth. Fifth place now is the top running AM class driver, and that is Anthony Hutchinson, doing a great job here on his debut. Frank Bassano, Christian Ortiz-Torres, Billy Wright, Tyler Torville, and Stephen McLean rounding out your top 10. As Jimmy, we're already coming up on about a third of the distance through this race, and it's been pretty hot and heavy, and no surprise here. I mean, again, it is a track that a lot of drivers probably have experience on. They probably ran some laps, whether it's the endurance races here at Watkins Glen, or even just some cup car races. You have some experience here at Watkins Glen, and we've seen it before where experience doesn't always lead to the cleanest races. Sometimes it gives drivers just a little bit overconfidence.
Yeah, I mean, because you know the track, you know where you're supposed to go, but now you got to throw in, somebody running you that probably knows the track a little better, or they're just hitting their marks a little bit better. They're not overdriving the car. Or you're overdriving the car. So I mean, it's very easy to go into a corner way too fast, and people don't think about the exit. So you're coming up on somebody and you're like, why are they braking so early? Well, they're probably saving their tires a little bit, and they're going to get one heck of an exit out of the corners, setting them up for like a straightaway. So where you're struggling and you lose that everything you gain in the corner, you just lose as you leave the corner. So there's a reason why you take your time going into corners. And it's not. Obviously if you're going for the pass, you're trying to set somebody up, you want to make sure that door is open, or you want to take that little stab, that run, and try to get in the inside. It is tough here at Watkins Glen. I do know that for sure. One of the spots, you'd think they would have the opportunity to pass is down this little backstretch right before the bus stop. You can make it work. You just have to be brave. And the guy on the outside has to give room together. You can go too wide through the bus stop, and typically, I know when I run these races, I can run that the inside line, and when you come up to the first corner of the bus stop, it scares people because they're on the outside, and then the next one they're on the inside, and they think you're going to just cut them off. So most of the time, the guy on the outside just chickens out. But me and Dave Tilford experienced that last time we were here in B2. I had a run coming out of the S's, and I took the opportunity to be alongside him, and I thought I gave him enough room, and he probably could have had it made, but we ended up getting together, and I went sideways, and he went around, but since he was on the middle of the track, he just kind of got lit up by some other drivers while I was able to drive away. But yeah, definitely can be a very tricky corner. Going up the bus stop, a really good spot to pass. Like I said, you just have to be confident in the car. And another spot is going down into turn one, and being able to roll that car up and slow it down. The S's so much, as much as you can go too wide up through there, that is probably my least favorite spot to get around a car. Obviously, you do it if you have to, or the opportunity there, but it's definitely, here it goes, too wide into the bus stop. Now, that Porsche can hold on too, but he lifts, but he thinks he needs to be farther on the outside. So I would have pushed the issue.
Outside of the track there as it goes through the grass, going through there. But yeah, I mean, you've seen heading into the S's, the 82 of De Lima had the lead over Steve Santana, but Santana just fought back enough to gain enough traction and momentum going up through there, because you can easily go too wide through the S's, but it's really only one line when it comes to grip. It seems like, I don't know if the marbles just really build up on the second line, or what the case is. It never seems to get kind of full grip on that second line going up through the S's, and you've seen the 82 just going to lose some ground and lose out in that attempt to pass. But it's been a good one since the start of the race here. Well, let's hop on board with Chris Hamilton and take a little lap around here, as already through turn one, now heading up through the S's, and it's pretty much flat out all the way up through here, especially in these GT3s. There's definitely some cars you got to go up here and tiptoe a little bit, but a little bit easier getting up here in the GT3s. But it's a good thing that the mirror isn't on for Chris, because that 88 of Jancic is getting bigger as he heads now into the bus stop. You see how violent it is and how much you're going to cut onto those curbs going through there to keep as much speed up through as possible around the outer loop, and heading now down into the boot. Tough corner right here, and to me this is kind of like a later apex. You see him kind of cutting in towards the curbing a little bit later than you would think. It's not one to me that is fast by staying on the inside the whole time. Now down into the toe, another one that's kind of a later apex, just to try and get a little bit straighter exit off the corner, and a little more speed heading down into the heel. Just a 90-degree corner here, but a little bit downhill, and then almost a little bit off camber when you're coming up and out of there. And a lot of the drivers will take to the outside, like you see in Hamilton right there. Tough corner right here, not necessarily going through, but on the exit, it is tough to get the power down exiting the boot, then heading into the penultimate corner. You got to just lift a little bit. Some drivers may grab the gear and then head into the final corner. Same thing. Some drivers may grab the gear to get a little bit better rotation of the car, but that is a quick lap around Watkins Glen, and it's a minute 44.72 for that lap right there for Chris, but a minute 44.3 for Jancic behind. He's there.
Yeah, it's he's coming, and Chris has had his fair share of trying to put Jancic behind him, and there's a few things these drivers can do. Obviously, maybe pitting early, might be the easier portion if they're getting held up too long. He talked about Bryce actually obviously had a bad start, and he's working his way back up through the fields. Currently way back there in P number 28, but not out of my mind, because I do know that Bryce has some speed, and there's a reason that he was up there on the pole. So it's just gonna take him time, but he's got some pretty decent, traffic, like a window there for himself to hopefully get his way up. It's just kind of like, when you had that wreck, I think if he would have stayed out, his tires are beat up. He might have had some damage from hitting something, but obviously topping off of fuel, coming back out here and finish this whole thing up, in pretty much clean air, with the exception of maybe a few drivers that had some incidents and maybe obviously slower than Bryce, but so he's got a lot of work to do. But you're going to see big changes when these drivers start pitting, and you're going to see Bryce probably, I'm going to have to say, within the top 10 easily. I'm going to say 8. I'll say 8, 7th or 8th. I'll be there when everybody's all said and done by minimum. So he's been running pretty good laps back there.
Definitely about to be a battle up front, and this is a situation here where, like you mentioned, Jimmy, I mean, if you're Craig now, you'd be able to reel in Hamilton pretty quickly here. Both running the same kind of car, both out there in the Mustang. But if you feel like you're getting held up even by one lap here, it may be worth hopping into the pits and letting the pit cycle kind of allow you to make that pass. Because obviously he has the speed as man. They launch themselves off of these curbs, and you see that's exactly where he is gaining on Hamilton through the bus stop. Gained a ton of time right there, and right up to the back bumper, heading into the boot. But right now, Hamilton's still holding on, and maybe Jansen dealing with a little bit of dirty air there, heading into the boot as they head now down into the toe. But they've got a 8.8 second lead over third place Dan Herrera, who's still stuck in his own battle. As you take a look back here, battle for third place overall. Herrera holding off Devin Young. These two have been kind of locked in it since the beginning of the race. Go a little bit further back in the field, William Burrell up here trying to catch up and make the pass on Stefan Price. The battle for 14th and 15th overall, 8th and 9th in the M class. But it's been a pretty good one here, as we are now halfway through the first race of the season. We've seen a few drivers into the pits already, some very early, some just recently in these last couple laps. So it's right around that time where I think you're going to see a lot more coming into the pits as we're halfway through.
Yeah, you're going to see more and more drivers. You'll start thinking about, like, all right, I'm almost at the halfway mark, or I'm at the halfway mark, let me go top off. I need this much fuel. You might see some drivers thinking about even taking a couple tires. They might take like 2 or 3 tires, depending on what they feel is necessary. And it could help, but they're only running 45 minutes, Carl. And I think if I was them, it's just fuel. Like, unless I'm really overdriving the car, I've been around a few times, and I didn't come in right away. Maybe then I would grab a set of tires or something, but they should be fine just coming in and grabbing fuel. I'm almost positive. Well, I know positively they'll be fine. That track's on, but I don't think the track's even very high. Looks like the track is at 69 degrees, so yeah, no. Good cool weather up here in Watkins Glen.
Yeah, and take a look at the weather. I'm just gonna move the sponsors up here just a little bit. There we go. Now we can see it. But yeah, the weather is a nice 65 degrees outside, so keeping that track temperature under 70 degrees right now. As you mentioned before, the humidity 93%, but just cloudy. And the clouds have not opened up at all here. And the drivers were certainly, they were testing it. They were ready for the potential chance of rain, and it's kind of iffy. It's kind of finicky when you have those lower percentage of rain. 30% chance of rain shouldn't be rain. Shouldn't be any kind of rain on the track. Shouldn't be any kind of moisture. But we've seen lesser percentages have a lot of rain. So you kind of have to go in there preparing for both. But these drivers, luckily, for the first race of the season, are going to get a bit of a breather and not have to deal with rain. Can't say that for later on in the season, as we've got a 10-race schedule for the drivers here in season number 12, and it is it's a fun one. There's definitely some new tracks out there that they're going to see as we got a battle here down the back stretch. Possibly, it looks like Herrera holding on to that inside, will not give up to Devin Young. but let's see, it looks like he's going to back out. Okay, as we take a look at the schedule for the rest of the season, you got Algarve and Mugello for the next couple of rounds. Road America certainly a favorite for a lot of these drivers. And then we had Dakota. That's going to be a special one. That's going to be a fun one to see how they handle the track out there in Texas. Road Atlanta, obviously very familiar to these GT3 drivers, as is Le Mans and Sebring. Imola is one that we've seen put on some good races, put on some kind of crazy hectic races, as big impact there from the 28, 26, trying to see who exactly that was. But that was a big impact for the lap car behind them. And then the final races, Monza is going to be the final race of the individual regular season, and Mosport is going to be the 2-hour season finale for the team championship. But actually, I believe they got rid of that as well. That's going to be a 2-hour endurance race, and it's going to count for everything. So we'll have to double check, and we'll let you know come next week. But Imola, as we mentioned, it can be a really good race, it can be a really bad race. Well, it's going to be a really rainy race. It is 80% chance of rain currently for round number 9. So again, you have 20% chance. Maybe it doesn't rain, but I would pack the galoshes for that one. I think it's going to be wet and wild, and that track can be a bit of a handful even in the dry. But we got some of our top drivers into the pits. Hamilton into the pits, Moreira, Hutchinson, Herrick all into the pits. Jancic is going to stay out, so he's going for the opposite. He's going for the overcut here. Going to try and put in some hot laps. And this isn't a bad idea for both drivers. I mean, for Hamilton, get in there early, try and see if you can find a pocket and put in some good laps with those clean new tires, whether they're new tires or whether they're just cooled down, and you can get some better grip for those first couple laps. But for Jancic, he knew he had some clean air out front, in front of Hamilton, so he's going to stay out there and try and put in a couple heater laps to get himself a little bit further on in this race. It sounded like he was cutting off the engine here a little bit, so maybe he had to do a little fuel saving to get this extra lap in. But either way, he's your leader, Devin Young, Frank Pisano for your top 3. Hamilton already making his pit stop and already back out in 4th. So that is the size gap that they had out front. These drivers certainly have been the class of the field here between Hamilton and Jancic, but should see the 88 tucking on the inside. As you see right there, he's bringing his Mustang into the pits this time. Gets a wood up for those yellow cones. And we'll take a look back and see Devin Young on his way into the pits. I guess there's no better time to have an issue than right there as you're coming into the pits. You can come in and get that fast repair, but yeah, that is not exactly the in lap that the 15 wanted. But again, it happened right by pit lane, so not as much time lost. But he's not going to be right behind Frank Pisano, I don't think, anymore, unless there's any kind of penalties for anybody. But Hamilton, we'll keep an eye on him now, coming down the front stretch. Jancic still in pit lane, about to come out. You see him right there on the inside, the purple number 88. Going to be really close here. I think Jancic's going to have the edge coming out, but how quickly can he get those tires up to temperature? Looks like he's got enough of a gap that Jancic pulls the overcut.
Yeah, able to get that one lap, and it could have been pit entry. Maybe Chris took a slower approach. There's multiple reasons why that pass happened. I mean, Jancic was right on the bumper there of Christopher Hamilton, and now they have a 1 second gap. So I think the big thing would probably be pit entry, because it's really easy to get caught speeding. I know Chris has been caught speeding here at Watkins Glen in his previous races, but I know it's pretty easy to do. So it might have just been a little more cautious. He'll find himself falling behind Craig Jancic there for P02. So you got Craig Jancic, Christopher Hamilton, Dan Moreira, Devin Young, and Frank Pisano for your top 5 currently.
Yeah, so Devin Young not losing a position, losing some time to Dan Moreira. So if he wants to have a chance at that podium, he's going to have to get a hustle on here for the last 15 minutes of the race. But speaking of hustling, You see right here, the 24 already back up into the top 10. He's in 8th place now as the pit cycle has been completed. Looks like everybody in the field has made their pit stop. And now the 24 of Reiner battling with the 22 of Tyler Torville down the little short chute here in between the toe and the heel. But the 22 holding strong, but it looks like he's he's going to still have position into the boot exit right here, and it's a good place to be. He'll have the inside line right there. He'll have the inside line at the penultimate corner, and he should be able to hold off the 24 of Reiner, and indeed he is going to for the time being. But that 24 has definitely got a fast Ford Mustang under him, and right behind him, Billy Wright trying to follow him up through the field. He is currently in 10th place. Now the 24 of Reiner going to have the inside line for turn number 1. And there should be enough here to get him past Torville, and indeed it is. To move Reiner up to 8th position, and it's kind of a consolation prize at this point, just kind of licking the wounds after having that incident early on. In front of him is the 11 of Christian Ortiz Torres, last season's AM class winner. Doing a pretty good job out here tonight in his return to the pro class, up in 7th place. He was one that came in a bit early compared to everybody else, pitting on lap number 10, where a lot of the drivers came in on around 15, 16. So try to pull the little bit of an undercut for a lot of these drivers, and it's kept them up there inside the top 10 pretty securely in 7th place. So good job here for Christian Ortiz Torres. But right in front of him, about 4 seconds in front of him actually, is Anthony Hutchinson. He is your AM class leader. He's looked pretty phenomenal here tonight, and he is up there in 6th place right now, and only 2 seconds behind the top 5. 5th place, Frank Bassano, only 2 seconds up the road. So a heck of a showing, as you see that Wonder Bread Ferrari right in front going through your screen right there. That is 5th place Bassano. And he had a pretty good showing last night too, Jimmy, in the M2. So maybe kind of feeling it here a little bit, and taking some good vibes from last night and bringing it right here to Watkins Glen.
Yeah, he talked about how fast obviously the drivers in front of him are, and obviously to be grouped with him and being in that Pro Series it can be tough, but you don't, I say it a lot, but you don't run a lot or a whole lot when you're the fastest guy on the track. But if you definitely have people faster than you consistently all the time, you have somebody to kind of watch and mimic and see if there's something that you're missing in order, until you catch that bug and you're right up there with them. So then, people are learning off you as well. So, I mean, it's just, he's having a good run, and he had a good run last night, had a lot of fun. He got 2 second-place finishes, one in the heat race and one in the finale there in the M2s, and even showed signs of even possibly getting to maybe the win. But it's just a tricky track, and all the cars handle just a little bit different. And when you start getting a little bit faster and you have that high downforce, you just need to know how to handle it, and how to enter and exit corners just a little bit differently than some of those cars out there.
You can battle in the back half of the top 10 here, as you got Jake Mowdy making his way through, and he is up in the lead here in that 50 Porsche. In at 9th place, Billy Wright. Take a look at him right in the middle there in that Ferrari. He is in 10th place, and then Tyler Torville slipping now just outside the top 10 in 11th currently. Second place in the AM class is behind him. I'm not going to show him too much on the screen because he gets bit by the broadcaster's curse more than any other driver out here. But Jim Herrick doing a good job right now in 12th place, but 2nd place in the AM class, more importantly. 3rd place in the AM class, not too far behind him. He's got Herbert Grenada in between him and Herrick. Is Renan de Lima running in 4th place. 3rd place in the AM class. 4th place in the AM is Steve Santana. A couple of seconds back, about 4 seconds back at de Lima right now. And then right behind him is Justin Tucker, 5th place in the AM class. Doing a good job out here in the Porsche. But up front, it is Craig Jancic as we're getting close to the final 10 minutes of this race. He's got a nice size lead here, starting to stretch out his legs. I mean, it looked a little funky, and we've seen it before, I think, Jimmy, where the first race of the season, Jancic maybe a little tentative to take the pole. He gets out there, and he all of a sudden finds the race pace. He was able to get around Reiner, obviously having the issues and then Chris Hamilton, it took him a bit, ran him down, and then the pit cycle happened, and he was able to take the lead, and he hasn't looked back. He is out to a 3-second lead.
Yep, I myself muted. My dogs are barking. Yeah, the next little lead, he just started to run away with stuff, getting comfortable, getting in that groove, got some clean air to run, and just got to put the pressure on the driver behind him to catch him. So Christopher Hamilton able to hang the tier today with that Mustang, maybe overdriving the car just a little bit and having them tires wear down just a little bit too much. So I mean, Chris isn't going to be far behind. Obviously, he's going to try his best to catch back up, and you can see they're dealing with traffic as Jansen goes flashing in lights like, please get out of my way. At least hold your line there. I think that was P15, if I'm not mistaken. Was it the 25? I think that was 25. He just went around. So yeah, just to, you know, a lot of drivers will use their headlights to just be like, you know, kind of like a gesture of, you know, would you please excuse me as I make my way through the field here. And you know, everybody's got so many things going on in their cars, and depending on the peripherals that you have, I mean, I got these big bright lights that, you know, they flash, you know, when they're getting lapped, the blue and yellow lights that the leader's behind you. So definitely you want to work it so they're like, you can get around them, but safely, obviously. So it's just, you know, the drivers, you don't want to like stop. You know, it's,
like that right there.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you start, like, when you pressure maybe a driver doesn't have the kind of talent that you have. Like when you start pressuring them, you know, obviously they don't want to wreck and they want to finish. So the thing that they do almost immediately is like just try to get way out of the way, and it can cause an accident. So it's just best as a slower driver, maintain your lane, do not make any lag changes, any lane changes or anything like that. Run your line, and when you have the opportunity, say on a straightaway, and they're right on your bumper, you pull just, if the guy behind you hasn't already done it, pull off the lane, racing lane, and just let your foot off the gas. And that car right on your bumper will go right on by, and you put your foot right back in the gas, and you've lost like a tenth. You know, so it's a big difference when you know, instead of like parking it in a corner or in a bad spot, and you find yourself spinning around because of the weight transfer of the car, you should downshifted too much, and you begin the gas and you spin. So, you know, as much as these leaders want to get around some of these drivers, you just have to be patient, and you know, obviously skill level does take, you know, a big part of what those drivers are able to do, what they're capable of these cars are doing. And so if you're around AM drivers, you know, the odds are they're still learning. You know, there's a reason they're AM and you know, not pro with you, and you just have to be patient with them. That's all. It's just a little give and take on the track, and it goes a long way. Just you'll see the flashlight kind of like indicator instead of coming over the radio and be like, can you please move out of the way? I think that's the one of the most annoying things I hear on a track, or, you know, especially during like an endurance race, so you're in your cars for like 24 hours. You know, I'd rather just, you know, get just one, you know, a flash of a light saying, hey, I'm here, I'm about to pass you, and then that way you can set them up so they have a nice clean pass. So, but they're gonna keep doing it like they're here. They're gonna keep trying to you know, get around the slower Porsche. So it's just what can that Porsche do? Can they hold off the cars to at least any more positions? Because this is a battle for position right now. So you're not gonna have Santana.
You don't think Justin Tucker's gonna move over for him? You know, I think Tucker's gonna give him the position here.
I mean, I've done it.
Oh yes, like, so have I. So it's a mind game at that point.
Like I'm just sitting there driving, like I've had like a bunch of leaders go by already. I'm like, oh, there's another one, because the lights flash, and then it's kind of move out of the way. I like somebody go by. I'm like, dang it, that was for position. And I just gave it to him.
I know if a B is out there watching by any chance, he knows plenty about my flashing. Anytime I'd be running for a position, or even not for a position, I'd be behind him flashing him on the way by. But it's been a good one here. We're down to the last 5 minutes plus a lap here at Watkins Glen. Jancic, Hamilton, Herrera, Young, and Pisano for your top 5. and then Hutchinson, Ortiz, Torres, Minor, Mowdy, and Wright making up your top 10. But I mean, all in all, it's I think it's been pretty good, pretty clean here. Did want to take a look back here as one of the newer guys to join the ranks of the admins here in CSRL had a bit of a moment here, and this is heading into boots. Lost a bit of the back end of the car, and it certainly upset the handling right there. He puts it into the wall, and I'm towing back to the pits. That is Wayne Burrell. But I want to give a shout out to all the admins here that put this league on. Obviously, Jim Dutton, the big man behind the scenes here, is the one that runs everything in CSRL. If you're looking to get into the M2 series on Tuesday nights, or here the GT3 series on Wednesday nights, just get in contact with him, get in contact with one of us. We'll get you the right spot to get in here, because you see these drivers, they're having a lot of fun out here. We're having fun up here broadcasting as well. But looks like take a look at one more issue here. This is Devin Young, maybe same thing here, heading into the penultimate corner. The Porsche snaps around on him and points it into the wall. Looks like he may get away with it a little bit. There's certainly a little bit of damage on that front end, but he did lose a position. He's seen there to Frank Pisano, so he's going to slip back to 5th place. Also want to send a shout out and a thanks to all the viewers out there, and thank you for tuning in here tonight for the CSRL Season 12, first race of the season here at Watkins Glen. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe and get you in touch with everything that we have to offer here at CRN. And thank you to the sponsors here on the series. Once again, coming back for yet another season for 40 Racewear. I know Jim Herrick there at 40 Racewear loves everything that they do here at CSRL, and he's more than willing to put his name on the product, pretty much every season. And 40 Racewear are the makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing and by sim racers. 40 sim racing shoes custom engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, while still providing the comfort needed for those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products, including the original racing gloves for your feet. For modern PC, they are focused on providing high-quality PCs, rigs, and components at an affordable price. Your investment in sim racing is exactly the same as racing with an actual car, and they take that same approach and methodology at Martin. From the engine, PC, to the chassis, rig, pedals, wheels, and shifter, you deserve components that match your desire to compete. These drivers are not short of competing here tonight. There's been plenty of contested racing action all over the place. Brandon Potts is in 4th place right now in the M class. This is 15th overall, but he's got Santana right behind him. Right behind him, he got Justin Tucker. Right behind him, he got Jason Potts. This is a pretty good battle heading to the closing minutes of this race.
Yeah, it's one thing you got to remember, obviously these drivers, back here, obviously Hutchinson sitting up there, sitting pretty up in the top 10, getting by there, take the P number 5 away from our Devin, because Devin's got the front end damage, so Devin's got to kind of overdrive the corners in order to maintain that draft there with Hutchinson. That's got a good start going to the season, but these AM drivers, like P number 2 for AM back there, and like 12th position and 13th. It's you have to you just have to remember that, like, you're in P2, you're not in 12th, you're 2nd in your class. So obviously you just gotta kind of know who your drivers that you're racing against. iRacing doesn't really denote like we can here at CRN, like by different colors, for classes, as far as like an AM and a pro. That's probably one thing that would be nice.
Nice addition for iRacing to have,
as an admin, to be able to split up these multi-divisions, like multi-class, not just by cars but by people. So I mean, it would be kind of nice where it would be, so the drivers would look down at their relative. They'd be like, all right, this is first place. But white flag in the air. Barney going crazy there as they head down to turn number 1. Craig Jansen in the lead over Christopher Hamilton. Ferrari there in third. Pisano's in fourth. Hutchinson's in fifth. Reiner has made it up to sixth. I called it by at least seventh, but got Young in seventh, Torres in eighth, Amari's in ninth, and the Wright's in 10th.
And Reiner trying to make a big comeback here and trying to get a top 5 out of this thing yet. And he's now side by side down the backstretch with Hutchinson, trying to pinch him down there, trying to force him to make a mistake heading into the bus stop. And Hutchinson's going to back out just enough to allow Reiner to move himself back up into the top 5. This is a heck of a drive back through the field for Reiner. This is something that is certainly going to build some confidence that I'm sure got shaken up a little bit on the opening lap there, having the incident after getting the pole. Lost the lead immediately to Chris Hamilton, but was hanging there in second place before he made a mistake exiting the bus stop right after the heel. But he has since then hit and driven straight through the field all the way up to 5th place. Winner here tonight is going to be Craig Jansen. He's already crossed the line. Chris Hamilton is going to come home in second. Dan Marrero through the penultimate corner here and then into the last corner. A great drive from Dan Marrero. And Jimmy, I feel like it's been a long time since we got a chance to talk to the other man here that reps the 40 paint schemes, and that is going to be Dan Marrero coming home with a third. You see, he is certainly happy about that. Frank Pisano, same thing. Definitely going to feel like the good vibes from last night in the M2s paying off here tonight. Grabs a top 5 here to start the season. 4th place for Frank Pisano. We mentioned the heck of a drive and almost catching up to Pisano there to grab the 4th. Is going to be Reiner coming home in 5th place. Hutchinson, a great debut here in the M class. Going to bring it home in 6th place. Devin Young, Christian Ortiz Torres, Jake Mowdy, Billy Wright going to round out your top 10. Tyler Torville coming home in 11th. Jim Herrick, the other man. We'll talk to both of these drivers repping the 40 as Jim Herrick. We showed him just enough to get home in 2nd place here tonight in the M class, 12th place overall. Battle all the way to the line, and I think Brandon Potts may have run out of fuel on the last lap. It's gonna give 3rd place to Steve Santana at the line, just barely, as he comes home in 14th place overall. Heck of a finish. We'll take a look at that one more time here and try and see exactly what was going on there. Again, I think Brandon Potts may have just run out of fuel. And not sure what happened. Well, that's because we were on board with the wrong car. Let's try rewinding here and see exactly what happened. Yep, you hear it right there, sputtering to the line. Cost Potts 3rd place. And you see just barely right there was Steve Santana getting by at the line. That's heartbreak right there for sure. As you see plenty of donuts out here on the outside of the track. But Jimmy, I know we got a big size field here. It'll give these drivers some time to get into the broadcast waiting room. Why don't you give us that rundown of tonight's results? Actually, it looks like still waiting for maybe 1 or 2 yet to cross the line to make it official. And then we'll get you your results. It looks like, there we go. Looks like Dylan Bukes may be the last one to cross the line and should make everything official here. But it was a heck of a night here tonight. There we go. Now we got the final results here. Jimmy, why don't you give us that rundown?
Yeah, final rundown of the evening here for your drivers. Obviously, we already covered the top 10, so that's excuse me.
As Jimmy coughs up a lung over there. Let's try that again.
Craig Jansen, Chris Hamilton, Dave Marrero, Frank Pisano, Bryce Rayner for your top 5. Anthony Hutchinson, Devon Young, Christian Torres, Jake Moody, and Billy Wright for your top 10. And then you have Tyler Torville, Jim Herrick, Herb Pineda, Steven Santana, Brandon Potts for your top 15, then Justin Tucker, Caesar Cohen, Jason Potts, Glenn Lazon, and Joe Sullivan for your top 20.
Come on. There we go.
And then the rest of the field here, you got Stefan Price, Stephen Pless, Jim Dutton, John Espada, Ian Wilson, Rihanna Dilemma, Randy Ayers, Todd Torville, Ian Southern, Jay Little for your top 30. a few more drivers back there. We got Paul Bailey, Stephen McLean, William Burrell, not having the night that he would like to have had. Dylan Bush, Stephen Burris, Jamie Bray, Max Dalton, and Dave Jensen. For your 38 drivers, Carl, it's quite amazing. I think this league, there's that possibility of seeing that number 4 in the front of those that first number.
don't get Jim too excited here. I know he's been waiting to see that,
I know
that 40 out there for a while.
Limited to 62. I think was Max Caulfield is 62.
Yeah, depending on the track.
Some tracks would be very full with 62 cars, but Jim will put them out there. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, it looks like these drivers are not waiting around. They're ready to get their interviews going here very soon. So let's go ahead and start bringing in our drivers. Third place here tonight in the Pro class, as we'll try and clean this up here a little bit so you can actually see the car. That's kind of a little bit more important here. So a third place here tonight in the overall and in the Pro class is going to be the 404 of Dan Marrera. Dan, welcome to the booth, buddy. I feel like it's been a heck of a long time, if not just way too long. But you had one heck of a fast McLaren out there trying to take the battle to these Ford Mustangs out front.
Yeah, it was great. I'm kind of surprised and shaking a little bit. My 4D Racewear shirt is drenched. I mean, the best race I had in quite a few seasons, to be honest, and I needed it. I don't know what changed within the cars or maybe my setup. I was using a new profile on my wheel, and it feels really good. The pedals felt great. Everything kind of came together and allowed me to be consistent. I'm not a sprinter. I'm not a fast guy. I'm a consistent guy. Try to make as fewer errors as I can. But for some reason, my lap times were fairly good, and I was fighting. I think it was, I don't remember who I was fighting with.
It was Devin Young for quite some time.
Yeah. But before that, I think it was Herbert who pitted early.
Yep.
And I was right on top of him. And I mean, those guys are way above my skill level.
Well, you say that. Listen, whatever you did with the wheel, don't turn it off. Don't touch it. Don't look at it. It's working. It's perfect the way it is.
I'm saving this and making copies and backups of the backups.
Yeah, this is going to be your setting number 1, 2, and 3, just to make sure in case you click it wrong. But I mean, it's great to have a podium, but a podium to start out the season, I mean, you can't really start much better than that.
Yeah, another thing that helps is that Watkins Glen is one of those tracks that you race over and over and over. And so I've been with iRacing for about 15 years, and I started racing in Watkins Glen with the IndyCar, and we raced it a lot. So with that car, you got to feel all of the bumps, all of the elevation changes, and then start feeling when to get on power. So maybe that'll give me a little bit of an advantage. Also, we have a big field with a lot of new guys, a lot of amateurs. So maybe that, it looks even better, but maybe that had something to do that we had so many new faces.
Well, hopefully it was more on the wheel and not on the fact that you knew Watkins Glen, because the next 2 races coming up are not exactly ones that have been on the surface for quite some time. You got Algarve coming up next week, and then Mugello coming up the week after. Any thoughts on any of those? Do you have any kind of experience on those tracks? Do you feel good or a little worried?
Yeah. Those are really, really technical tracks. I raced both. Mugello especially, it's nice. It's got that kind of like a nice flow at the end of the track that I like, but none of them are easy to me like this one. And I was kind of hoping it was not the wheel or the pedals. I was kind of hoping it was between the wheel and the seat, but no, I don't think it's that.
Let's be honest, it was that driver out there. That's really what it was. I mean, you took it to these guys here tonight. You're tired of you're tired of sitting back playing, second, third, fourth fiddle out here. You want to get up there and get you some podiums. And let's be honest, you want to come up here and talk to us. Who doesn't? So either way.
Yeah, I mean, it's my dream came true.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
If you could see the tears rolling down my cheeks.
That's what it was. We thought you were sweating. You were just crying. You were that happy. You got it now.
Yeah.
It all makes sense. Well, listen, third place, podium to start the season. A great run out there. Before we let you get out of here, who you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Oh, absolutely. Jim Herrick for letting me race for 4dracewear.com, 4dracewear.com. Shoes, gloves, shirts, hats for Sim Racing. love Jim, love the store, love their products, and thank you guys for the good job that you guys have. And I hope to meet you maybe in the next in season 24.
That sounds like a plan. Well, we get to talk to your buddy Jim here a little bit later too, as he grabbed the podium as well. So, congrats to both of you guys tonight. We'll let you go celebrate, and hopefully, we'll be talking to you sooner than later.
Thank you, guys. See you.
That is your third place finisher tonight, the 404 of Dan Herrera. Second place here tonight, Jimmy, is going to be the 64 of Chris Hamilton.
Oh, hey, Chris, Jimmy, and Carl in the booth. Do you copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, buddy, I definitely had an interesting race there. We were able to take the lead here and there early and kind of walk away just a little bit, and then Craig reels you back in. You pit before him, and he was able to overtake you on a pit stop, and then when they came out, just kind of walked away from you. But I think it's the first time I've seen you in the Mustang, so just kind of was in shock just a little bit, but you did a great job. You came home in that P number 2 spot, and definitely wanted to say congratulations and get your side of the story, how your race went.
Hello. Yeah, I actually really like the Mustang. I know I run the pace car a lot, and I do have that as a backup pick in the event that the Mustang does not work out, but I kind of chose it just because I like the sound, Big America, and then everyone else did too. I don't know how many people decided, hey, this is going to be the Mustang Challenge Cup, but here we are. But yeah, Craig, talking with him before this, he said this is like his home track. It's he does NASCAR here. He does a lot of laps. So he knows how to, if there's anyone that knows how to get around this place, it's him. And when I feel like I'm pushing it and maintaining a good but manageable pace, and then I'm still losing half a second, I'm like, whoa, where is it? I found it in the bus stop, but by that point it was too late.
Yeah, it's a finicky track, and somebody's got thousands by thousands of hours here at Watkins Glen can definitely be a beneficial thing. It is a fun track, obviously we got our special events here and stuff, whatnot, but you had a great run there in the Mustang. You get that second place finish, and we just want to say congratulations and give you some time to give your buddy shout on that big gold Blue Thunder.
Huge shout out to Johan Simenario from JS Designs. He painted this thing for the Daytona 24, and it's a beautiful looking car. Probably we're gonna rock this all season. Huge shout out to Craig for great racing as always. It's an interesting rivalry that has been developing between these past couple seasons between him and I. And thank you guys for the broadcast. Couldn't do it without you guys.
I really appreciate it, Chris. And again, congratulations on your finish, and we'll let you go celebrate with your friends and family.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Second place finisher here tonight, the 64 of Chris Hamilton. Top spot tonight is going to go to the multi-time defending champion, doing some multi-time defending champion things. Get him back here and getting the win. Started P3 here tonight, Craig. We just talked to Chris, and we know very well that you have tons of laps here tonight, but it seemed like maybe just a smidge off in qualifying, and maybe if Reiner didn't have that mistake, he could have certainly given you something to think about other than Chris up there. But took you a little bit to kind of get in the flow of things, and then you finally started reeling Chris down. Why don't you kind of give us an idea of what the first half of your race was here tonight?
Insanity. I could probably end the interview right there, but no. Yeah.
Have a good day.
Right from qualifying, I was on a lap that would have been pulled by 2.5 tenths, and I 0x'd the wall out of the final turn. On my second lap, which for the Mustang was the best lap, and I was pissed off at that, and then I just I don't know if I accidentally got in my own head or what for the rest of qualifying, but I couldn't put a whole lap together, and that the start and third showed that, and I had kind of known that it was going to be a fight that I could take on to everybody. There's a lot of strengths in my corner here at this track. This is literally my favorite place on earth. I love Watkins Glen. I think more than any single location in the world. to be there physically, so it comes naturally to drive it as well. And the hearts are heavy here in the Jansek family today. I don't know if you can zoom in on the hood there, but we lost one of our favorite four-legged friends in the entire world, Sammy. So I told her and Aunt Sandy that I'd take Sammy for another few rides this season by making sure she's on the cars. So honestly, no matter what, I was just hell bent. I wasn't losing this race, to be honest with you guys.
Yeah, that's it sucks to hear. I've certainly gone through them through my years as well. So thoughts and prayers from us over to you guys and dealing with it. Pets are more than just a part of the family. They're one of your kids, and it's hard to get over it sometimes, and it takes some time. But it was a great tribute, both on the hood and what you did out there on the track and getting it done here tonight. You go a little bit longer in the stint than Hamilton. Was that always going to be the plan, or did you kind of just do that? He went in the pits and you seen some clean air out in front to maybe get some good laps down and maybe pull the overcut that way?
When I got to within a second of him, I translated focus to feel safe, because as I was passing, it was within about half a tenth of a lap. If I could save that little or that much, depending on who you ask, gas, I would have been able to extend that extra lap. So when I got to a second, I was like, all right, you can probably pull this off. Just breathe, extend a lap. And when I saw how easy it was to extend, and not really have much pace struggle for it, I continued that all the way up until he pit, and then I laid down an absolute flying in lap, and I think that was the difference here tonight, over taking him over in the pits, because Chris is he has my highest respect as a competitor. I wouldn't do anything foolish to him, and it would have been a hard pass, because by the end of the race, I was really starting to lose the rears of the Mustang, which I think is going to be my season-long struggle with the car until I could figure that out a little bit better. Maybe I used a little bit more than I realized, just pushing in tunnel vision, trying to get back up there. But we'll keep at it. I think the Mustang is going to be the car of the season. Obviously we all have a second car in our garage here tonight that we didn't pull out. And I do look forward to bringing that one out at some time. I did sell the Acura and the Porsche in the off season, which is nice. And we brought in this Mustang and another car that we'll probably end up showcasing at some point this season.
Well, that was going to be my final question. That the Mustang. I mean, we've seen quite a bit of it out here tonight. I'm not surprised at Watkins Glen to see the Mustang and see it flourish out here, but given the fact that you guys are only allowed to pick 2 cars for the season, the Mustang hasn't exactly been necessarily a fan favorite, other than the awesome sound of it when you're in it, or when we're listening to it. Hasn't really been a good car to put down some solid lap times compared to some of the others. So what made you pick the Mustang for the season?
The schedule. It's all intermediate to high speed tracks. I don't know what Algarve is. We'll figure that out next week. Mugello's kind of intermediate, but literally every other track is high speed. And Mustang just eats in high speed tracks. I didn't even have to think about that. I knew that I was going to take the Mustang. When it came to car selection time, I had to think about the second car quite a lot harder. It's just almost entirely schedule based. Road America will be flying. COTA, 3 long straightaways. Road Atlanta, you're only in second gear for 13 seconds of the whole lap. Le Mans. The Mustang was just the strongest car at Sebring last weekend. And Monza, another 6 long straightaways, or whatever the heck that is. So, Mustang was definitely the easy choice, in my opinion.
Well, you get it done here tonight. Yeah, it took a little bit of doing here to finally get up there, but you get the pass done after the pit cycle gets through there, and you and Sammy get the win here tonight. So, congrats on the win here. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to before we let you go?
Yeah, huge thanks for that specifically, Carl. Much appreciated, Jimmy, as well. Thanks to everybody at Core Racing Network behind the banner too. Digital Sim Sports, Team Conti Sim Performance, Martin PC, Studio 3, everybody here at CSRL. This is, I believe, ties our highest car count that we've had in my tenure here at 38, which is fantastic. So hopefully it was a good show for the fans out there tonight. And thanks as well to Mom, Dad, Aunt Sandy, Anna, we'll carry heavy hearts. I'm an emotional person, so Sammy will be on the cars probably for the whole season, and we'll do this. We'll do this season for Sammy.
All right, buddy. Well, once again, thoughts and prayers to you guys to doing what you can to get over the loss of the loved one there. But the win here certainly is going to help, and I'm sure she enjoyed that one last ride here, and she'll I'm sure see the front of that field quite some more here before the season's over. So congrats on the win here tonight. We'll let you go celebrate, and we'll see you next week.
I sure hope so, brother. Thanks again.
Winner here tonight, the 88 of Craig Jancic. Switch over to the AM class now, and third place, Jimmy, by a whopping 0.08 of a second, Steve Santana in the 343.
Hello.
Hey, Steve, it's Jimmy and Carl in the booth.
How you doing, Carl?
One heck of a finish. I mean, it's almost like a small gift as your competitor ran out of gas.
Racing, and honestly, the qualifying didn't go as good as I'd hoped, so I was starting 30th, and on the start, I just lucked out, had a good opening, and the whole race, I'm just trying to race my heart out, and then Brandon's coming up behind me, and I'm like, I don't know where I was at in the standings. I just knew like where I was good. And we hit that last corner, and I'm thinking, what is he slowing down? What is it? Okay. So I just dropped a gear a little bit and tried to squeeze by him, and it worked. So.
Yeah, just a very, very, very close margin. But I mean, it was good seeing everybody battle out there. And I know being in the AM class, you kind of lose focus. I think like maybe exactly where you're at unless you know exactly who's in the pro and AM. But yeah, you guys were doing some great battling, throughout the track, and just a good showing there, and you were able to not have to worry about fuel too much at the end and be able to squeak away with that finish. So we just wanted to say congratulations, and it was awesome to see that car out there and see you up here on the podium here to start your season off here at Watkins Glen. I don't know if obviously you've probably seen the schedule and a few tougher tracks coming up here in the future. How's the outlook, and how do you feel about the upcoming races?
Not bad, actually. Look at some of the tracks and practicing on a few of them, really working on slowing fast out, which is kind of lending to some of these tighter tracks that we've got. Came in the season just trying to improve a little bit, and here I am looking at the schedule ahead. I'm like, all right, we're going to put some more practice in, refine my skills, because I like talking to you guys. This was nice.
Well, we like talking to you too, man. I mean, it's good to have a variety of people, come up here. And the AM guys are usually the ones that are able to mix it up the most. Yes, you guys are honing in on your craft and having fun with the hobby. So like I said, it's definitely good to see you out there and get that great finish. So we want to say
definitely. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was definitely a lot of close battles today. I mean, I had raced with a lot of guys in this league, and everybody's close. We were duking out the whole race. It was fun. It's probably one of the funnest races, even beside the P3 I got. Just some close racing with these guys. So hats off to everybody in the AM class.
Yeah, it's the field size is quite large. So if you have a bad race, you guys are gonna probably feel it a little bit harder this year. Obviously, being towards the back of the pack. So you got some obviously some room to not make mistakes and some room to try to improve and get finish higher than some of them pros out there, and just kind of extend your skill level. So but either way, you had a great run tonight, and we want to say congratulations, and give you some time for any shouts you might have on that McLaren.
I'd like to thank me for sponsoring the McLaren, but ultimately it's a fun thing I do. My wife, I mean, she's the rock and cornerstone. She puts up with me being down here. watching me every night in the bedroom on YouTube, on the TV. So definitely I couldn't do this without her.
Well, I'm sure she appreciates the quiet time, and she does it she forces you down in the basement on purpose.
Yeah, she probably turns YouTube on right as I'm coming upstairs. You know, oh, I was watching it the whole time, baby. No, she's awesome. She's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great thing that the wives do support. Mine leaves me alone and allows me to do what I need to do and come up here and broadcast for everybody. So, but either way, great finish. Thanks for the shout outs, and we'll let you go celebrate with your friends and family.
Thank you guys for putting it on, man.
That is your second place finisher in the AM class and 14th place overall, 343 of Steve Santana. Second place in the AM class and pulling off a P12 here tonight is going to be the 40 of Jim Herrick. Jim, I did my best not to show you too much on the screen. I mentioned one time that you were in second place, and then I turned right away. It worked out. We didn't give you any kind of broadcaster's curse here tonight. You get yourself a second place.
No, don't worry about that. We love the screen time.
Well, you certainly, you guys both grabbing some screen time here tonight. Dan Murray, your teammate there, grabbing a third place. You come home with a second place back there in P12, just a little bit too far behind Anthony Hutchinson to make a run at him. But, I mean, you guys at the top half of the AM class there all kind of really mixed up in battles just about the entire race. What was the difference here that got you the P2 here tonight?
Yeah, just being consistent, I guess. That was my focus. Just come out here and, it's a track that I know pretty well. So, no excuses. Just come out and hit my marks and run clean, consistent laps and let the cards fall. And so I got kind of lucky. I avoided the first lap craziness there and turned 11 or 12 and had a gap open up and was able to drive right through that and basically keep my pace right from the start. So after that it was just like I said, hitting the marks and running consistent laps. I did make one mistake and I let I forget who that was. Stephen McLean. He got by me, and then I think he had a disconnect issue later, so ended up not costing me. So minimal mistakes was key tonight.
Well, it was good enough to get you a second place here tonight, and it was certainly a hard-fought one. And sometimes it's exactly what you need. You just need the cards to fall in place at the right time. Whether it's a 45-minute race like tonight, whether it's a 12 or 24-hour race, sometimes you need a little bit of luck to get it done, whether you're a fast car or not. And good enough to get it home here in second place. So I mean, it's great, obviously, getting the podium here and finally getting up here to talk to us again, but. I mean, definitely got to give a shout out once again to Dan Marrero, your teammate. Gets to join you here in the booth, and he gets a long overdue interview. So, what does it mean to have both teammates up there on the podiums?
Yeah, it's really special to have the two of us up here together, and of course, Murphy's Law. Dan and I think, are both on kind of a part-time schedule this season. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to take a few races off. It's just a really busy time of year for me, and I know for sure I'm going to miss the next two races, and I'll be back kind of sporadically. But so we weren't able to do the team. Run for team points. We didn't sign up for that. And of course, the first race we come out here and both land on the podium.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Well, either way, I mean, you're making do with what you got, and you're certainly you're putting stuff up there in the races that you're in so far. One podium for the season, and hopefully it's going to be more when you get to show up once again. But either way, take some time, celebrate this one with you, your teammate, and everybody else. But before we let you go and get out of here, who would we give a shout out to or thanks to?
Yeah, again, shout out to Dan, my teammate. You guys at Core Racing for doing the broadcast. It's always a blast watching those. We love having them. And of course, my sponsors, 4D Racewear. Keep your eyes open. We'll have some announcements by the end of this year. We're gonna provide some trophies for the GT classes for the season champions this year. So working out details on that, and we're excited to to be doing that for the league, and yeah, as soon as we get some more details, we'll share them with you, share some photos and all the good stuff. So looking forward to that. Everybody check out 4D Racewear, the original racing gloves for your feet. And thanks to Jim and the admins at CSRL. This is such a fun league, and just invite anybody that likes the GT3s, come out here and give it a try.
Absolutely, buddy. Well, congrats once again to you and your teammate for grabbing the podiums here tonight. Good run, and hopefully we'll see you again before this season ends. And I'll try not to showcase you too much, or maybe we'll just we'll figure out a way to change your name on there so we can show the car, show the 4D Racewear on there, and we'll just say it's somebody else until we get you up there in the podium.
Nah, man. Truth be told, there's no excuses. I don't know when you're showing me and when you're not, and when I make a mistake, it's all on me. So, give us that screen time. We love it.
All right, buddy, we'll do. Well, like I said, congrats on the second place. We'll let you get out of here, and we'll see you when we see you.
Thanks. Have a good night.
You too. That is your second place finisher in the AM class, the 40 of Jim Herrick, finishing in 12th place overall. Last one, we will get in here to interview your winner here in the AM class. 6th place overall, Jimmy, is going to be the 2 of Anthony Hutchinson.
Hey, Anthony, Jimmy, and Carl in the booth to Cappy.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Oh, well, welcome to the booth. And it's good to see you out there and seeing some of the AM drivers take it to some of these pro drivers and have a great race. And it was, good to see you up there, and wondering if you were in the wrong class, whether you were supposed to be in that pro field, as you were putting on some really good times. So give us a little rundown of your race tonight and how everything went for you.
I mean, the race went really good, guys. The car felt really good. The track was changing drastically throughout the race. So, that was something I think all of us had to adapt to as the race went on. It started off fast. Then it got a little slower. Then it got a little slippery at the end. At least that was my take on it. But I mean, it felt really good to be out there racing with all the guys and having a good time. It was a lot of clean driving. This is my first time racing in this league. A friend of mine, Tyler and Todd, they race in this league, and Steve McLean, and they invited me today to join and race with you guys, and I absolutely had a blast.
Well, the showing that you put on, you might have put a target on your back by some of your competitors that were behind you. They're definitely going to be chasing that 2 around for the season, and even the pro drivers are going to be watching you because you might be their competitor maybe next season. So, but you had a great run. It was fun to see you driving up there and get a great finish, and just overall just great. So, just wanted to say congratulations to you and give you some time for any shouts you may have in that number 2.
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to definitely give a shout out to all my fellow teammates over at Ace Motorsports. Bevan, Steve McLean, Tyler, Todd, Braxton, Trent, all those guys, Martin. Without them and us practicing week in and week out to try to get better and become better drivers, I probably wouldn't be able to drive as good as I do at times. I hope I can continue this streak, but I make no guarantees. But it was an absolute blast to be a part of it, and obviously I want to thank my wife for putting up with my habits. I'm sure that's not an easy task when I'm spending so much time on the rig, but she's an absolutely amazing woman.
Yeah, I mean, without them, we can't pretty much do anything. Need their permission, need their grace to make sure that things are done. But like I said, great run.
Very true.
Great run. Congratulations, and we'll let you go celebrate with your friends and family.
All right, appreciate it, guys. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Yes, sir.
That is your winner here in the AM class, 6th place overall, Anthony Hutchinson in the 2. Heck of a race here, heck of a start to the season, heck of a showing from all these drivers out here. 30, I believe, all 38 cars put in some lap times out here, a couple of them starting from pit lane, but it was a heck of a run all the way to the end. We've seen literally a last lap straightaway pass at the end, 0.8 of a second because of Brandon Potts running out of fuel, sputtering to the end, and it's heartbreaking. I mean, he still came away with a 4th place in the AM class, but it's a horrible feeling when you come out of that last corner when you're running so close so long. It seemed like you finally got the best of his competitors there, finally get up past the ones he was battling with, and then he sputters out of the last corner. But another dominating performance from Craig Jancic, starting off yet another season on top of the boards, and it's going to be tough to beat him once again. But Chris Hamilton, I'm sure will do what he can to take after it. I love seeing guys like Dan Marrera, Frank Bassano finally getting up there and getting their top fives, and especially Dan joining us up here in the booth and getting an interview. Bryce Reiner, heck of a comeback. He's certainly showing some speed, not just last night, but he's carrying it over here. So maybe another competitor up there to battle with Craig Jancic. But that is going to do it for race number 1 here in Season 12 for CSRL. Next week, we head to Algarve, and it's going to be a fun one and maybe a learning experience for some of these drivers if they haven't had a chance to get to that track. It's going to be very interesting out there next week. Tune in if you haven't done so yet. Hit that like and subscribe. Get you in touch with everything that CRN has to offer. But for myself and Jimmy here at Watkins Glen International, we'll see you at the track.
Peace.